happen to have joined this house at the same time with the two members in the 11th Parliament, and I can attest to what you have said in your communication, that the two honorable members, the Senator for Baringo and the member for Malava, are indeed very dedicated public servants and leaders in their respective constituencies. Honorable Chumo, Honorable Speaker, when you represented Baringo North and served in this house, serving all the way as the chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee.
Order. This is a solemn moment where we have lost two of your colleagues at the same time. I would expect that you give it the solemnity that it deserves. Go on, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying Honorable Chumo served also as a member and later chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee, and served with a lot of diligence as a chair of that committee, and those who were in the 12th Parliament with us, we remember the dedication with which the Honorable Chumo served this House as chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee, considering numerous regulations for approval in the House, and did so with a lot of intellect. Honorable Chumo, Honorable Speaker, happened to be a very good lawyer, and I was privileged, Honorable Speaker, to learn later after I served with him here that he had also worked with my wife, who was then working in the bank, and Chumo happened to be in one of the panels for that bank. And my wife attested when we finally met at some point somewhere together with Honorable Chumo. She attested how diligent Honorable Chumo was in conveyancing, and how much even those who worked in the bank trusted the work of the late Honorable Chumo, and is indeed a great loss, not just to his family, to the people of Baringo County, especially the people of Baringo North, whom he represented in this House for 2 terms as a Member of Parliament, but also the greater people of Baringo, who he served as their Senator. It is sad that we have lost him at a time when the people of Baringo needed him the most. Honorable Speaker, I was privileged to have served with Honorable Malulu from the 11th Parliament, when we first joined this House together. And Malulu, the late Malulu, Honorable Speaker, again is a leader who exemplified himself as a servant, true servant of the people, and a true believer. Honorable Speaker, many members will bear me witness that the late Malulu never left his rosary wherever he went. And those who have served with the late Malulu in this House, those of the Catholic faith, will remember that Malulu at all times had his rosary with him. And many of us nicknamed him Bishop. And indeed, where he used to sit, just behind where the Honorable Ikana is seated, he had a permanent position there. And every time as we walked out, we would say hi to him and call him Bishop. And he's indeed a great loss, not just to the people of Malava, his family, but to us as a nation. The late Malulu was not just a true believer, but also a dedicated educationist. As a former teacher, he moved on to serve as our Vice Chair of the Education Committee, and the Chair of the Education Committee will tell you the dedication.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to condole with the family of the departed members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am known to Honorable Injendi Malulu, Mr. Speaker. We came in the 11th Parliament, I think, together to this Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he was a very dedicated servant of the people, and somebody who has spent most of his time in his constituency, Mr. Speaker. He was rarely in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. Any time he had in his hand, Mr. Speaker, the member spent with his constituents, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker is a man who knew what he was doing. Because, Mr. Speaker, the love Honorable Injendi Malulu had for his constituents, Mr. Speaker, was immeasurable. I remember during the elections, Mr. Speaker, we were campaigning, and we had a candidate as a party against him, Mr. Speaker. But when we visited the constituency, we were told categorically that the most popular person in this constituency is Malulu Injendi, Mr. Speaker, as an individual. in whichever party contest. That is the information we are given on the ground. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask God to stand with his people, Mr. Speaker, at this trying moment. And Honorable Chumo, Mr. Speaker, also, we were together with him in this house. He was a very dedicated servant, Mr. Speaker, of the people. He was in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and we benefited as a House, Mr. Speaker, immensely from his knowledge of the Constitution and the law, Mr. Speaker. I served with him in Parliament, I served with him in the House Business Committee, and Mr. Speaker, those are servants of people who have left us, Mr. Speaker, at a time when Kenyans really require their service, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I condole with the family, and may God rest their souls in peace, Mr. Speaker.
Meli. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this time to condole with the family of our two honorable colleagues, Honorable Chumo and Honorable Moses Malulu Njendi. Honorable Speaker, we came to this house with Honorable Malulu Njendi in 2013, and as my colleagues have said, he was a very humble, very diligent, very honest, very religious, and a good educationist. I served with him in the 11th Parliament as a member of the Committee of Education, where we were led ably by Honorable Sabina Chege. During that time, Honorable Malulu Njendi gave us his mind on educational issues, ranging from the primary school education all the way to university. Honorable Malulu Njendi, Honorable Speaker and members, he was a man who actually loved his constituents a lot. He didn't fail to go to his constituency every weekend, every month. And at all times, he served these people with a lot of diligence and integrity. He was a man who really built many schools, many colleges, and many institutions in his place. Honorable Chumo is a senior member in this house. He mentored us. We found him. He was a member of Baringo North from 2007 all the way to 2013 when he came in. As young legislators, Chumo took us with a lot of humility and taught us parliamentary legislative processes. As a member of the delegated committee and also as a member of several other committees, we learned a lot from the two members. May the good Lord rest their souls in eternal peace. Asante sana. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to pay tribute to the Honorable Malulu Njendi, Moses MP Malaba, Kakamega County, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Malulu has been a good friend, very close and a relative, Mr. Speaker, a man of humility, down to earth, Mr. Speaker. Being a relative, Mr. Speaker, despite the age group, Mr. Speaker, Malulu has always called me uncle since he's married from my clan, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I and Mr. Malulu in political trajectory took the same path in 2017, Mr. Speaker, when we found ourselves in corridors of justice, Mr. Speaker, defending election petitions, Mr. Speaker, in the High Court in Kakamega. Despite that, we also won, both of us, and Mr. Speaker, at 2022, Mr. Speaker, we are re-elected the third time, Mr. Speaker, with the Malulu Njendi. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Malulu Njendi, the MP Malaba, has transformed education in Malaba, both infrastructure and learning, Mr. Speaker, in Malaba constituency. Mr. Speaker, I wish to take this chance, Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf and on behalf of people of Ikolomani and Kakamega County, to eulogize with the family and pass my condolences to the people of Kakamega for losing such a leader, Malaba constituency. Mr. Speaker, also losing a committed leader who has transformed and left a legacy in Malaba constituency, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've had the privilege of interacting with Mr. and Ms. Chumo as legal practitioners long before he joined politics, Mr. Speaker. And I found him as a brilliant legal practitioner who was down to earth. I also had the privilege of being with him in Parliament from 2007 as a representative of the people of Odinga North, and then later on, right now, was serving as a senator. Mr. Speaker, death is a must. We as a Muslim, we always say, "Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut." Every soul shall test death. It's a must. It's only the owner who gives and who knows when to take away. And therefore, all of us must be ready to submit to the will of God when we live, so that when we go down, we'll be welcomed in the bounties of heaven, Mr. Speaker. I know Mr. Chumo will be missed by many friends. Mr. Speaker, I have also interacted with Mr. Ijendi and found him a man who was carrying the rosary. In my culture, Mr. Speaker, when you see a man or a woman of God always blessed with a rosary, it's a sign of forgiveness. It's a sign of atonement. It's a sign of asking, look, you always appreciate the omnipresence of God around you. And I know truly in Mr. Ijendi and Mr. Chumo, the people they have represented will greatly miss them. But the only thing that we can do, I want you as our head to give them a dignified and decent enough. That is the only way we can also remain true to the service they offered to the respective electorate. Thank you, sir.
Sabina Chege. Sabina Chege. Sergeant, can you check the system is malfunctioning? Sabina Chege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to offer my condolences to the people of Malulu on behalf of Honorable Ijendi and also the people of Baringo County. Mr. Speaker, both members have worked with them, and I worked with Honorable Ijendi on 11th Parliament, where I chaired the Committee on Education. He was one of the greatest supporters who contributed immensely in education. Mr. Ijendi, Honorable Ijendi, was also a lecturer and a person who also loved the Catholic faith. You will all remember him wearing his crucifix, and he was a very humble man. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chumo, I also served with him at the 12th Parliament, and also when now he was a senator. And I would also want to pass my condolences to the people of Baringo County and also his family. And I just want to say one word, Mr. Speaker, that as leaders we should know that life is not permanent. As we make decisions, as we work together here in the House, let us not carry heavy burdens, and let us serve the people, because God has appointed us at a time like this and nobody knows about tomorrow. So to the people of Baringo and Malulu constituency, I personally wish them God's grace at this time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maklap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me join you in paying tribute to our late Senator William Chumo, who passed on 16th. Mr. Speaker, first I want to endorse that whatever you read is a true position and life of Honorable William Chumo, our Senator and our immediate former member of Parliament of Baringo North, a man that I took over from in 2022. Mr. Speaker, I want to make it known that Senator Chumo is not only a senator of Baringo, he was actually my maternal uncle. So, Mr. Speaker, I have lost a jomba in myself. A man that is fast in many things. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chumo went to school too late. Those of us, Mr. Speaker, who are not born in hospital and who lived in rural areas, Mr. Speaker, went to school too late. You could see, Mr. Speaker, Chumo written 57 years ago. Mr. Speaker, the true position is not 57. We always choose the date of Christmas when Jesus was born as our birthday for those of us who are not born in hospital, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this man did a good job in Baringo North, Mr. Speaker, and I have made, Mr. Speaker, give me an extra minute. and I have ensured, Mr. Speaker, that whatever Chumo started in Baringo North, we are able to complete, Mr. Speaker, within the shortest time possible. Mr. Speaker, because of no time, Mr. Speaker, I wish to also inform members that Honorable Chumo shall be laid to rest in his home in Bartabwa on 1st of March, Mr. Speaker, and there will be a requiem mass on.
Okay.
Allow me just on 27, Mr. Speaker, there will be a requiem mass in AIC Mlimani for our late Senator William Cheptumo, Mr. Speaker, and I've also known Mr. Ichendi as my registrar in Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Mr. Speaker, where I started double mathematics, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may their souls rest in peace, Mr. Speaker, and thank you.
Nabin Abuera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to condole with the families of Cheptumo and Honorable Malulu Njenti. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Malulu Njenti and I share so many things. Our mothers are angled in the same home. Honorable Njenti and I belong to the same circumcision age set, Chuma. Njeni and I were in school at the same time. While he was in Mumias, I was in Musingu High School. I've known Njeni for well over 30 years. Honorable Njeni was not just a friend, a relative, but also a barometer for many things. When I wanted to check something that I thought I wanted to contribute on, I would speak to Honorable Njeni. On behalf of the caucus, Western Parliamentary Group Caucus, and on behalf of the people of Lugari, I want to send my sincere condolences to the family, to the children, and to the people of Malaba. Honorable Speaker, you remember you gave me an assignment with Honorable Wangwe to be the caretaker of Honorable Njeni when he was in a hospital all this long. It's a journey that Honorable Speaker was very difficult for Honorable Wangwe and I. We saw him sick. We saw him rising up. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Yes, wind up.
We've seen him lose the battle. It has not been easy. And I want to thank you, the Speaker, and everyone else who joined us in this journey. I condole with the family.
Betsimba. Honorable Betsimba.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Pia mimi nisimame kwa niaba ya eneo bunge la Kisauni kusema pole kwa ndugu jamaa na marafiki na eneo bunge la Malava kwa kifo cha Mheshimiwa Ijendi. Mheshimiwa Ijendi alikuwa anaishi na watu vizuri, na kitu anayohitaji sasa ni maombi. Kikubwa anachohitaji ni maombi. Tumuombe Mungu amsamehe madhambi yake, amweke katika watu wema mahala pema. Pia hii ni ishara kwamba unakumbushwa kwamba hii dunia unapita. Kwa hivyo unalohitajika hapa katika dunia hii ni kufanya mema. Hayo ndio yatakwenda kusaidia mbele. Kifo hakijali mtu mzima wala mtoto wala cheo chochote, wala una uhakika kuishi dakika 2 kutoka sasa. Kwa hivyo hii ni moja katika, pia wale ambao bado wako hai wajue kwamba iko safari ambayo wanakwenda, na kikubwa ni ufanye mema, na sisi sasa tulopewa jukumu tuwe tunafanya mazuri yale ambayo yanasaidia wale watu ambao wametuchagua. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Chematia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take this opportunity to condole with the people of Baringo and the people of Malaba. People of Malaba for the loss of our colleagues, Senator Cheptumo from Baringo and Honorable Njendi. Mr. Speaker, Baringo has lost a great leader in Cheptumo, because Cheptumo served this house for 15 years, and I must say the biggest gap that Cheptumo created in this loss is the counsel that he gives us as young leaders and the continuous fight on insecurity in Baringo. And I want to say thank you to all members who have helped us through. We are still mourning as Baringo County, and I also want to say we will miss him so much, and Cheptumo will live, his life is going to live more. And for Njendi and family, I want to send my condolences. I knew Njendi because he was one of my voters when I was going to East Africa, and also being a colleague for these last 2 years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me chance also to contribute on the two leaders, the two members of Parliament whom we have lost. Honorable Speaker, I know and I knew all the two members that have worked with them, Honorable Njendi and the Honorable Cheptumo. Honorable Speaker, I knew Cheptumo from 2007. I've interacted with him for a very long time, and we met in this house, the 11th Parliament, and he was a very able and honest, hard-working leader. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Njendi was a very strong member, very honest, and people of Malawa, I want to say Paul to them. Honorable Speaker, he was a very strong member of the caucus, Western Regional Caucus. He was a very good advisor of us. Honorable Speaker, we are going to miss them. I used to crack jokes with him, Honorable Speaker, whenever we meet with Honorable Njendi, calling him the Bishop of the Catholic Church, Honorable Speaker, and he was a very jovial member of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, no one in this House, Honorable Speaker, can complain and say that maybe Njendi was a rough. We are going to miss Honorable Njendi and Honorable Cheptumo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Makali Mulu.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and the behalf of the good people of Kitui Central, I want to convey my deepest condolences to the two families, the family of Honorable Njendi Malulu and the family of Senator Cheptumo. Honorable Speaker, I had a chance to work with these two honorable members for 2 terms for the Cheptumo and 3 terms with the Honorable Njendi. And Honorable Speaker, these two honorable members have been very serious with their work, and I'm very sure that the people who have been voting for them will miss them in a big way. So even as Honorable Speaker, we send our sympathies to the people who have been voting for them, Honorable Speaker. My prayer to the Almighty God is that they are so rest in eternal peace. Amen, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to pay tribute to 2 great people. Honorable Njendi Malulu, whom I first met when I came here to Parliament, and I know that one of the most important things that I remember about him, was that he was kind and very amiable. He was a gentleman. And so when I arrived in Parliament, I felt like I was fish out of water, but he was one of the people who made me comfortable. He was always polite and kind. He always gave you way when you walked on the corridors or when people were crushing you on the corridors. And most importantly, when he wanted to speak, he requested with such humility and grace despite being very senior. As for Honorable Senator Cheptumo, he was my classmate at the University of Nairobi Law School, and I remember he also stood out because he was sober, calm, and very wise. And once I asked somebody, why does he behave like my father? Then I later was told, and he told me himself, that he had joined school at a very later age. So he was nicer than all the other men at the university, was very polite, was like a father to you. And most importantly, when all the young men in first year were chasing after girls, Chumo was focused on studying and was always telling the others not to behave like that. We will always remember our two colleagues.
Were they chasing girls or seducing girls?
Coaching them. But I stand here today to condole on behalf of the people of Singishu County with both families and rest their souls in eternal peace. Amen.
Mishimbogo.
This one. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hakika ni pigo kubwa sana katika taifa letu la Kenya na pia katika mabunge yetu mawili kupoteza viongozi mashujaa wetu wawili. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Cheptum ni seneta, alikuwa seneta wa Baringo, alikuwa kiongozi mwenye busara sana. Alikuwa kiongozi mwadilifu, na hata wakati alipokuwa akichangia katika bunge hili la kitaifa katika miswada na katika hoja, ungemwangalia ungejua huyu ni kiongozi ambaye anajielewa na anajua kwa nini yako katika bunge hili la kitaifa. Mheshimiwa huyu amefanya mchango mkubwa sana hata kule nyanjani. Tumezungumza na wengi sana kutoka sehemu za Baringo, na hivi sasa ni pengo kubwa sana ambalo liko pale. Lakini kwa niaba ya watu wa Likoni nasema poleni sana. Mwenyezi Mungu apatie familia faraja na apatie taifa la Kenya faraja. Kwa ndugu yetu Malulu Ijendi, pia alikuwa kiongozi mwadilifu, kiongozi shupavu. Ukiangalia katika Kakamega ilikuwa ni sehemu ambayo ni pahali ambapo chama cha chungwa kimebobea, lakini yeye angeweza kuchaguliwa akiwa katika chama cha UDA. Kwa hivyo ni kumaanisha alikuwa ni kiongozi ambaye anatenda mema na anafanya mambo zaidi, haswa katika mambo ya miradi. Ni mheshimiwa ambaye alikuwa mpole, hata ukimuona utamuona tu mwenyewe amevaa ule msalaba wake, nikijua kwamba yeye alikuwa Mkatoliki. Kwa hivyo taifa hili la Kenya na mabunge yetu tumepoteza viongozi shupavu, viongozi ambao michango yao, haswa Malulu katika elimu alichangia pahali pakubwa sana, na mheshimiwa Cheptum amechangia sana katika zile kamati alizokuwa, hata ile kamati ya masuala ya kisheria. Kwa hivyo
Mishi time yake imekwisha. Ferdinand.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people from Kwanza and Trans Nzoia, I want to take this opportunity to say, to send my condolences to my brother Moses Intenji, because he even came to my place at 2019 and helped me do some fundraising. He was a very dedicated man. We always met at the church down here. It's a Catholic, and there was a devoted Catholic church follower. You can see he had also always having a rosary, and we have missed somebody who was very intelligent. When it came to education matters, he would offer very good advice, and therefore I want to take this opportunity to say pole to the family, and of course William Mtuma also was. We came together here 2013, and he was a very dedicated contributor to most of the issues in this house. And therefore, people in Baringo, I think, have missed a very intelligent person, and therefore also take this opportunity to send my personal condolence to the family of Honorable William Chumo. And I want to take this opportunity also to say we have missed very important people, and therefore may the Lord actually place them in the eternal of His. Thank you.
Thank you, Naisula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise also to pass my sincere condolences to the families, relatives, friends, and also the constituents of Honorable Malulu Ijendi of Malala constituency, and also Honorable William Chumo, of the Senator of Baringo County. I was privileged to work with the two gentlemen. The Speaker, Honorable Ijendi, was the chairperson of the Regional Integration Committee in the 12th point, Mr. Speaker, and later I also served under Honorable Chumo when he was the chairman of JLAC. I must say that this country and their constituents have lost very dedicated legislatures in this house, Mr. Speaker, and I must say that there are some of the people who worked in silence. They were never noisemakers. They used to work silently in their areas where they've been elected. They had clean politics, Mr. Speaker, based on issues, and also in the committees. I saw both gentlemen very dedicated, Mr. Speaker, and so it is not only their families who have lost, and it is not only the people who elected them, but the entire country, Mr. Speaker, have lost two great gentlemen, Mr. Speaker. And I must say that in your condoling with their families, Mr. Speaker, you gave a true tribute of who the two gentlemen were, Mr. Speaker, and in them we shall dearly miss them, and we will also remember and learn a lot from their leadership, Mr. Speaker. May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, John Makali.
Give me the mic. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and on behalf of the great people of Kandui constituency to eulogize the late Honorable Malulu Ijendi. Honorable Malulu Ijendi was a true representative of the people. He was a man who actually never shied away from his faith. Honorable Malulu Ijendi was our senior, and he was my neighbor here in Parliament. We could consult at very, very short notice. Honorable Malulu Ijendi was a real humble man, was an icon of humility. And the only thing we can be able to do, Honorable Speaker, as we send off Honorable Malulu Ijendi, is to remember what he adeptly stood for. He adeptly stood for passing legislation to assist village managers and the village elders so they can also be able to get some money arising from the service they give to our people. So as we eulogize and send off Honorable Malulu Ijendi, honorable members, we must send a gift to Honorable Malulu wherever he goes by passing the legislation which he adeptly pushed for in this house. He also contributed immensely in the education sector, and this house is thorough by the passing on of the Honorable Malulu Ijendi. I take this opportunity to say pole sana to the people of Malava and say may he go in peace. And as we realize also the Honorable Baringo Senator, we wish to say that I never had an opportunity to work with him, but from the records in this particular house and in the Senate, he was a very sharp and fine legal mind. May the people of Baringo also be consoled due to the loss of the Honorable Chumo. May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Murugara. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, allow me, on behalf of the people of Tharaka constituency, Tharaka County, and my own behalf, to condole with all the primary school teachers for having their child, Mr. Nzioka, a great guy who served the teachers very diligently. Allow me also to condole with the people of Malava for the loss of one great gentleman by the name Moses Ijendi, who actually we would describe as a gentleman par excellence, because nobody in this house would say they crossed paths with Honorable Malulu Ijendi. He served so well, he was so humble, he was so amiable and humane in everything he did. This is a great loss to the of Malava, and we condole with them. Allow me also to condole with the people of Baringo County for having lost one of my best friends, Honorable Chumo. Chumo, we crossed paths in A-level as he studied in Kabarak High School and I was in Kabarak. We would occasionally meet for debates, and those debates were very beautiful. We then entered the university in 1988 and shared a class with him and also the Deputy Speaker of the House, the Honorable Gladys Boss. let me disclaim that I was not in that class of those young men she has described. I was in the class of Cheptumo. We were quite serious in studies, and Cheptumo actually did very well. Eventually, we were admitted as advocates, and we practiced law with him. The House, for the job of the Parliament, I served under Honorable Cheptumo when he was the chairperson of the jail.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Navaholo, on behalf of myself, Honorable Speaker, too, and the Catholic fraternity, Honorable Speaker, allow me to pass a message of condolence to the family, friends, and relatives of the late Honorable Malulu Injendi. Honorable Speaker, I share religion with Mheshimiwa Injendi. I also share family issues with Mheshimiwa Injendi, Honorable Speaker. His wife and my wife happen to be sisters. And Honorable Speaker, when I was called upon to be with him at his hour of need in hospital, I felt being together with my brother. And indeed, I saw, Honorable Speaker, the dark times of Mheshimiwa Malulu, and also when he has rested, Honorable Speaker. I want also to thank the Parliamentary Service Commission, Honorable Speaker, for the work they did for us yesterday. It was immense, they persevered, and Honorable Speaker, it cannot go without appreciating them for their input. Honorable Speaker, I worked here very well with Mheshimiwa Malulu as a person who understood the people of Malava, whom I neighbor with. As a neighbor, we were very good, we worked together, and Honorable Speaker, the greatest moment I wish to remember Mheshimiwa Malulu is in 2017, Honorable Speaker, when the entire region, Honorable Speaker, was in court, but through a very difficult time and held each other's hand and went through as Jubilee MPs. That was a moment, and Honorable Speaker, much time we used to do was to sit with him and he would pray for us. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of Honorable Cheptumo, allow me to really wish the people of Baringo that indeed, Honorable Cheptumo, I served with him twice in the 11th Parliament and 12th Parliament. And Honorable Speaker, many a times we used to refer to him as a walking dictionary, because it was a working constitution, Speaker, because whenever the Speaker and then the Honorable Muturi could want to raise an issue of constitutionalism, he was there to help interpret the Constitution of.
Thank you, Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the people of Kip South, on my own behalf, Honorable Speaker, I would like to join you and the House in condoling with our colleagues, the Honorable Malulu Injendi and the Honorable Cheptumo. Honorable Speaker, it is a very sad moment for all of us to lose two great gentlemen who have served in this House. Honorable Speaker, I have served with the two of them in the 11th Parliament, in the 12th Parliament, and also in the 13th Parliament with Honorable Malulu Injendi, and also with the Honorable Chumo, who, as much as he was in the Senate, he would cross over on this side and consult us. Mr. Speaker, other members have said the Honorable Malulu Injendi is a very respectful person, a person who was committed to his constituents, to his family, very humble and God-loving. Honorable Speaker, it is hard to forget the position where the Honorable Malulu Injendi sat, and when he wanted to speak, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity that you give us to sit there, he is very respectful and always walked to that seat with a lot of respect. Speaker, the Honorable Malulu's contribution to education in his constituency, in this House, and also in the country is worth noting. Honorable Speaker, I remember that when we were dealing with the sugar bill, the Honorable Malulu Injendi participated immensely, passionately for his people. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to condole with him and his family and ask God to keep him in a safe place which he worked for hard. Honorable Speaker, give me a chance to say a word about Honorable Cheptumo. I have interacted with Honorable Cheptumo in his house. We sat together in the 12th Parliament in the Liaison Committee when I chaired lands and so delegation.
Give her a minute. Rachel umekwisha. Letting it.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to join the team, the National Assembly team, in apologizing the lives of Senator William Cheptumo, the Baringo Senator, and also Honorable Malulu Injendi. It is a great loss, Honorable Speaker, for this country and the people of those constituencies and counties that the two represent. I have known them as very mature leaders in this house, especially with internal memory. Every time, Honorable Speaker, the like of Malulu Ijendi normally sits along the way while we enter this house, Mr. Speaker. It is very difficult to pass him before saying hi to him, also getting one or two wise statements from or wise words from him, Honorable Speaker. I sat with Malulu Ijendi in the Committee for Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library Services, and he had a lot of immense contribution during our committee sessions. Also, Honorable Speaker, Senator Chumo has been more like a counselor, a leader with a lot of experience. We've shared a lot with him while he was still alive. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to join hands with this House in mourning their lives and also to condole with the people of where these two leaders come from, the people of Baringo and also the people of Malava. Finally, Honorable Mr. Speaker, I also want to pass my condolences to the former chair of KEPSHA, John Nzioka, for his loss. I want to tell all the leadership of the primary school heads that we are very sorry for their loss. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Number.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of myself, the Pumuhaya, the now dissolving ANC party and the UDA party, let me take this opportunity to condole with the families of one Johnson Zioka, a teacher of repute who was the chairman of KEPSHA. KEPSHA is the Kenya Primary Schools Association, a professional body that actually voices the professionalism of teachers. On behalf of myself and the groups I've mentioned, my condolences to the family of the late Johnson Zioka, an educationist and a vast person. Let me also condole with the family of the late Baringo Senator William Chumo. Chumo carved his place as a unique legislator when he was here. He was the kind of legislator whom, when he stood up to speak, the whole house somewhat would just go quiet and listen to his explanation, especially on constitution and constitutionalism and things that related to law. And he's a great guy with great respect and a mentor of many of us. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the demise of Honorable Malulu Ijendi is in itself a memento mori. That actually sounds a warning to all of us who are in Parliament and those who are not in Parliament, that death is definite and it's coming for us. Because a few days ago he was just seated there and all the time catching your eye to express his views on education and other matters. But there is gone, a very calm legislator. Ijendi was a legislator who knew how to get to the people minus the political parties. Though a member of the NC party, which have been the Secretary General, Ijendi could have still made it on any political party. And no wonder in your eulogy you indicate him as having come on a party that was little known even when he had been denied the famous ticket of Raila.
Yeah, Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also take this opportunity to condole with the families of our two colleagues, the Honorable William Chumo from the Senate of Baringo and the Honorable Ijendi, the MP for Malava. I would like to pass my apologies on behalf of the people of Nyamira and on my own behalf. And Honorable Speaker, secondly, I would also like to pay special tribute to Mwalimu Johnson Zioka, because Honorable Speaker, Mwalimu Johnson Zioka actually taught me in Donholm Primary in class 5 for maths, and he was also the head teacher for our school before I left. He has been the head teacher there for more than 24 years, and I'd just like to send a special tribute to his family, to all the teachers of KEPSHA and the community and families of Donholm Primary, because that is a community primary in Advocacy East, and so I pass my sincere condolences to all three. I thank you.
Waliobaki mchukue dakika moja moja. We have a few minutes to go. Bensouda, 1 minute only.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would also like to pass my condolences to our honorable members who passed on. And this is a moment that we need to be prayerful because we know what the family is undergoing. Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that I sat in the Committee of Education for 3 days only with the Honorable Malulu. He was always prompt and early enough for the meeting. His contribution was amazing. Honorable Speaker, I thank and appreciate set aside already a committee that will look into their befitting send-off. I want to pray that everything will be done accordingly and prudently so that during the time of the Requiem Mass, the parliamentarians should go there in solidarity. As women, we feel the large gap that their spouses are now undergoing. And as this parliament or this house, when we go to give the last respect, we should check and establish if there are students or their children who are still going on with their education. And so I stand that something should be done as a legacy of their contribution in these houses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And on behalf of Homa Bay County, on behalf
MP Westlands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish also to condole with the families of Honorable Chumo and Honorable Njenti. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chumo, I served with him in the 11th Parliament, in the same committee of delegated legislation. He was my chair. And he was a very, very intelligent man, committed and provided leadership. And we did a lot of work with him. Honorable Speaker, I also want to pass my condolences to the family of Honorable Malulu Njenti, a man that we came to this parliament at the same time. He served with him, we were serving with him in the current parliament, the same committee of broadcasting and library. And also we are members of the CAMC, the Catholic Members of Parliament caucus. And he is a very, very honorable man, and he has...
Time up, Ikana. You have only 1 minute, so...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my constituents, the great people of Shinyalu, I wish to extend my sincere condolences to the families of our departed colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that the tribute you read about the Honorable Malulu Njenti was accurate 100%. Honorable Malulu Njenti was very passionate about his people of Malava. He served them even when he was very sick in the hospital. And this can be confirmed by the fact that he was able to push for the tarmacking of Alamithi and Abahola Road, even when it was very quickly. Mr. Speaker, personally, I owe to a great deal and extent my election to this parliament to the support I received from Honorable Malulu Njenti. Having been my teammate in Kenya Kwanza, we did joint rallies, we campaigned together, and he guided me, enabling me to tap into his...
Dan Wanyama.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to condole with the families of our departed colleagues, but more importantly, with the Honorable Malulu Njenti. He's one person I've known since our childhood, because I went to school with him at St. Peter's, and at some point I was his class prefect in Form 5 and Form 6. And I know Honorable Malulu is a very truthful and sincere person. I know the family will lose him, the people of Malava will lose him, but all the same, let his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
Thank you. Katana?
Asante Bwana Spika, nataka nijiunge na wenzangu kutoa rambirambi kwa niaba ya wakazi wa Kaloleni kwa Senator Cheptum na Mheshimiwa Njenti. Bwana Spika, Mheshimiwa Njenti amekuwa akitetea sana mambo ya elimu, na pia Njenti imekuwa tukienda kanisa moja. Yeye ni Mkatoliki na mimi ni Mkatoliki, na kila siku Jumatano, Bwana Spika, tulikuwa tunaenda kanisani na Bwana Njenti. Tunaiombea roho yake iweze kulala mahali pema peponi. Asante.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and want to also join the rest of members who had already spoken to pass my condolences to the two great leaders and their families. And Honorable Speaker, it's true that both leaders are great leaders and committed servants of the people of this nation, and I was so privileged to also having interacted closely with both of them. Honorable Speaker, Igeni Lulu, as has been said by the rest of members, is a very committed leader, man of the people, and down to have more importantly, Honorable Speaker, you had mentioned, rightfully mentioned, that this man was so passionate about the issue of the village elders, and he sponsored a bill that on national government administration that had intended to look into the welfare of the village elders, to have them recognized and enumerated. And Honorable Speaker,
because dakika moja tu.
Honorable Speaker, I worked with Honorable Chumo when I worked in Baringo as a doctor, and also when we joined Parliament here in 2013. He is a gentleman and is somebody be able to consult, and he will be able to give you advice. Honorable Speaker, about a month ago I met him and I looked at his health, which was actually not doing well. And I want to join the people of Baringo and the people of also Malava, mourning both Honorable Senator Chumo and Honorable Malulu, who in this house we joined 2013, and he is who has been and a commitment to people and also to the house in general. May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Orundo, Katana, switch off your mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of Raila constituency, let me send my sincere condolences to our departed colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I have served Honorable Njeri since I joined the other term, and Honorable Njeri visited my constituency sometimes in November after the demise of his fund accounts manager, and we shared a lot, and it was a shock to learn that he was unwell, and it was even more shocking to learn that he passed on. Honorable Speaker, on his bill about the village elders, Honorable Speaker, we were involved and unfortunately was asked, and that's what Honorable Tongo wanted to raise, he was asked to drop it, awaiting a comprehensive review. I hope honor, Honorable Tongoy, you will ensure and conclude that process. And with those 4 remarks, and I wish the family these hard times. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to pay tribute on behalf and on behalf of the great people of Teso South to the bereaved families of our two departed colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I'm pleased to have with both Chumo and Honorable Ijidi in the 11th Parliament and then this 30th Parliament. Honorable Njindi, we sat on this same row and I'd consult him on use of bills to do with education, and he also consulted me on his budget. But Honorable Speaker, the two gentlemen were very humble and dedicated to serving their constituents, and contributions will be great in his family and the country at large. At this point, Honorable Speaker, I just want to pray for the bereaved families, the widows, the children, including even the chair of capture, who just lost his life in a road accident on behalf of the teacher.
Mwea, Maingi, member from Mwea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to condole with the people of Malava. I first met the late Honorable Ijendi at Catholic University when he was a registrar and where I studied for my MBA. Mr. Honorable Majedi was a kind-hearted member. He was compassionate, he was caring, he was selfless, he was respected, and he was so uplifting. I had been at this moment to meet the Honorable Ijendi, and he was also pleasantly surprised. He was a member of Catholic Members Association, and he was a diligent member, very dedicated person. He was.
Thank you, Nyaleche.
Thank you so much, Speaker. On behalf of Bella Marakot and myself, I wish also to convey my condolences to the departed members. Honorable Njendi was a person known to me, and where we interacted and bonded with Njendi because we are members of CAMSI, and I can say the Catholic member of Parliament have lost very dedicated member. Honorable Chumo was a random member and an advisor, especially from our community, whereby most of the members of Parliament, we always go to Chumo for advice, and he could always give us direction and give us advices. I pray that may their souls rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Africa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Roysambu people from Nairobi County, Mr. Speaker, allow me also to convey my heartfelt condolences to the two bereaved, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we heard about the sickness of Malulu Njendi when he gave his apology at Naivasha retreat. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, we're coming to an end. We want to go to something else. Nyakundi, let's see how many are still interested. Many. Nyakundi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want this opportunity to convey my heartfelt condolences on my own behalf and of Tutu Church North to the family that have He is one of the very spoken, good-hearted, and a very simple man. I remember him for always having his neck, and we want to convey our sincere condolences to Honorable Chumo. We say pole sana to people on as the UDA party and the Kenya Kwanza coalition. We've lost people of dignity, and we pray and hope that may the souls rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Chikati.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Secretary General of the Catholic Members Caucus, I would say we have really lost someone who added value to the work of the Catholic MPs. Malulu Njendi was very committed in serving Kenyans and was having that at the board. He led the caucus, through which he mobilized resources for the people of Malava. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Tongaren and the Ford Kenya Party, I want to say pole to the families and may their souls rest in peace.
Kericho, women rep.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join the members of Parliament to pass message of condolence to the families of our honorable members, Honorable Senator Chumo and Honorable Moses Malulu. Mr. Speaker, we have actually lost great legislators, great professionals, great leaders. Honorable Chumo being a senator, and from our region, he was a very humble person. He gave great and wise counsel to us. This is a great loss. I pray that the family will be actually comforted. Honorable Malulu, Honorable Speaker, supported the sugarcane farmers, and coming from a region where we have sugarcane, I know we have lost him. I believe great movement in the sugar industry, he was part of it. Honorable Speaker.
Aseka.
I also join my colleagues in eulogizing our departed colleagues. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Njendi, member for Malava, will be remembered as a champion of education in his constituency. He has really supported vulnerable students to access basic education. He has put up